Hey, YouTube, sorry.
Okay.
Ms. Tallman, you ready?
I am.
Hey, YouTube. Ms. Keefe, we ready?
We're all set.
Madam Chair,
Alrighty. This evening is our monthly meeting of the Board of Adjustment. While we are having to change how we operate, we are still committed to a transparent process and encouragement of public comment during our meetings. We will be accepting public comments based on using the hand raised feature. You can raise your hand at any time and we will recognize you as we get to the public participation portion of the agenda for each case. Director of Planning Joe Vunich will be moderating the Zoom meeting and will be asked to provide names of those individuals that wish to speak again as hands are raised. I would like to call the meeting of the City of Wildwood's Board of Adjustment to order. The board members present today are Deborah Coleman, board member, Arnie Sprunger, board member, Jim Rubis, alternate, and myself, Mary Giles, chair. The Department of Planning staff present is Joe Vunich, Director of Planning, and Robin Keefe, planner. City Attorney John Young and Court Reporter Courtney Tallman are also present. First, I offer into the record the affidavit of publication pertaining to today's meeting, October 21st, 2021, and take official notice of the zoning ordinance of City of Wildwood, including Chapter 400, Article 2, authorizing and establishing the Board of Adjustment's powers and duties. Now, let me explain the hearing procedure. Please be aware the information I'm about to describe is also provided on the Board of Adjustment public hearing procedure handout, which was available online prior and up to tonight's meeting. This hearing is informal in its nature. However, the meeting's proceedings will be recorded by a reporter for future transcription if needed. The petitions are called in the order listed on the agenda. As the petition is called, I will ask a Department of Planning staff member to read each request into the record. Thereafter, the Department of Planning will have opening remarks and a brief slide presentation. Then the petitioner or his or her representative will be asked to state their name and address, be sworn in by the court reporter, and make a brief presentation to the board explaining the nature of the requested variance and the hardship necessitating it. The board will only consider the nature and condition of the property and whether these factors mandate a variance in order to allow for its full utilization. Board members may ask questions to clarify the facts of the petitioner's presentation. When the board is satisfied with the material presented by the petitioner, the chair will then ask if there is anyone present online who would like to speak in favor of or opposition to the request. Each speaker will be asked to provide their name and address, be sworn in, and then state their comments. Procedurally, the petitioner may request a continuance at any time during the hearing prior to a call for the vote in order to bring in additional documentation or information. The board may also request a continuance to gather additional information or for a further visit to the site. After the conclusion of input from all interested parties, the board will ask a staff person to provide the Department of Planning's report on this matter, if requested by any member of the board, the petitioner, or any individual that is participating online. Additionally, any other information not presented in the previous testimony but pertinent to the request will be noted at this time. Once all speakers have been heard, the chair will call for a motion to grant or deny with or without conditions, then the board will vote. At that time, the discussion relating to the petition is concluded and no further input will be permitted. The board will generally make a decision today. 4 members of the board must vote in favor of the petition for it to be approved. If a variance is approved, the petitioner has 6 months to obtain the necessary permits or establish the use, or it will expire. If the board's decision is unfavorable, the petitioner has the right of appeal to the St. Louis County Circuit Court. This appeal must be done within 30 days of the decision. Mr. Vunich, are there any questions at this time?
Madam Chair, if you just give a minute to see if any of the attendees have any questions, and if the attendees would use the raise hand feature, Ms. Keefe will recognize you and promote you to a panelist to answer your question. Madam Chair, I see no raised hand feature.
Hearing no questions at this time, the board will proceed. Please read the first request into the record, which will be followed by initial comments by the Department of Planning and a brief slide presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair and members of the board, the first case tonight is BA 20-21, Jory and Christina Taylor, 1108 Sarah Matthews Lane, Wildwood, Missouri 63005, care of Michael Sear, Fournay Plus Architecture, 9920 Watson Road, Suite 115, St. Louis, Missouri 63126. Request an exception to the specific yard requirements and exceptions for the purpose of constructing a 3-season room and lower deck upon the property located at 1108 Sarah Matthews Lane, locator number W 110061, Three Sisters Farm, Plat 1, Lot 5, which would thereby authorize the construction of these new structures into the defined 100-year floodplain area of the lot, as well as encroaching into the 50-foot setback from this same floodplain boundary. Therefore, the new setback from the floodplain boundary would be 0 feet. This request is contrary to the requirements of Chapter 415.070 FP Floodplain District Regulations and Chapter 415.090 NU Non-Urban Resident District Regulations of the City of Wildwood Zoning Ordinance. This particular property is located in Ward 1. Madam Chair, before moving to the slide presentation, the Department of Planning would like to introduce into the record regarding this particular case the following items. Chapter 400, Article 2, the Board of Adjustment from the City of Wildwood Municipal Code. Chapter 415 of the same City of Wildwood Municipal Code, the Zoning Ordinance, a file that has been developed and maintained by the Department of Planning regarding this particular case, and all contents contained therein, including the department's report with recommendation, and then finally, all evidence that is provided as part of tonight's hearing, including maps, photographs, plans, and testimony, and any other items offered in this case. Madam Chair, with your permission, Ms. Keep will begin her slide presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Madam Chair and members of the board, our first case of this evening has been read into the record. And it involves a subject property that is located in the northwestern quadrant of Wildwood. It is southwest of Babbler Park Drive, roughly at the intersection of Pond Road and Riger Road. And it's off of Sarah Matthews Lane. Here you can see the subject lot. Sarah Matthews Lane is a publicly maintained road in the Three Sisters Farm subdivision, which is a 13-lot subdivision. It is a 3.37 acre lot, and it's surrounded by a development pattern of large lots that are 3 or more acres. It is a non-urban zoned property, also in the floodplain non-urban residence district. The property does have a slope with an overall relief of 12 feet, and it's heavily wooded on the eastern part of it. It is bisected by Bonholm Creek, and as you can see, a significant portion of the property is located in the 100-year floodplain or special flood hazard area. This is significant to this case in that the current floodplain area, it was adopted in February of 2015. It is established by the flood insurance rate map, which displays the floodplain on the property at the current time. Now, this does change over time. Here you can see the original platted lot in 2002 when this building was constructed. At that time, the floodplain was 50 feet to the east, and the residence involved was not located within it or within the setback area from the floodplain, which is required to be 50 feet under our code. However, it should be noted that the state of Missouri is currently updating our flood insurance rate map based on new data. And in the future, presumably next year, the floodplain will be reduced by nearly 250 feet, which will take the property completely out of the floodplain area, as well as any improvements that we are discussing today. So this is relevant to the case this evening. Here you can see the front of the home. And this is a view looking northeast. And this is the view across the street from the home to the southwest. This is a view down Sarah Matthews Lane to the northwest. And then this is looking southeast. Here you can see a view of the neighbor to the north. And this is the southeastern neighbor here. They do have a side entry garage. And standing at the top of the retaining wall, this is the backyard, and here you can see their existing sun deck. Going around the side yard, and here is a side view of the existing sun deck. This will be what it will look like with the 3-season room. Here you can see the petitioner site plan with the proposed improvements and the currently adopted floodplain final protection zone. And as you can see, that does cut off that northern corner of the house, as well as the property here, which is in the floodplain. And then portions of the improvements are in the setback area, which essentially establishes a 0-foot setback line. This is the lower level plan for the home. And on the first floor will be the 3-season room. This is the view to the rear and what it will look like once it is built. And finally, this is the view to that northern neighbor from the backyard where the pool is. The 2 most impacted neighbors do support the request, and the petitioners have also submitted trustee approval of the variance today. And that concludes my presentation. We are available for your questions.
So, Robin, you had mentioned, did you say it was the state of Missouri that redefines the floodplains?
That's right.
Okay. And did I understand that correctly, that they're in the process of reestablishing where that floodplain would be? And have they basically done that work and have just yet to publish it? I mean, is it kind of a done deal?
It is currently a draft. So we cannot necessarily base the variance on this fact today. There may be some other findings of fact that would support it. But it is certainly something substantial to note that it's looking like that floodplain limit is going to change significantly in the near future.
And I know we don't know that it's going to happen for sure, but if it does happen, the petitioner wouldn't have needed a variance then, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Robin. Can the petitioner please state your name, address, and relation to the property, and then be sworn in by the court reporter?
Ms. Keefe will have to promote him here shortly. Mr. Seer, if you could turn on your microphone and camera, thank you.
Hi.
Hi, Mr. Seer. Can you please state your name and address in relation to the property and then be sworn in by the court reporter?
Yes. Should I give my work address?
Sure.
Okay. My name is Michael Seer. Address is 9920 Watson Road, Suite 115, St. Louis, Missouri, 63126. I am representing the owners of the property. We're the architect for the owner.
Thank you, Mr. Seer. If you could be sworn in by the court reporter.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Steer. Can you please explain the nature of the request and the hardship or practical difficulty necessitating the variance as it relates to the character of the property?
The nature of the request, they're looking to replace the existing deck with a 3-season room. It'll be approximately the same footprint as the deck, except it'll be 2 feet deeper away from the house. And then they're also going to add a lower deck adjacent to the pool. Both structures will be completely open underneath. The 3-season room will be even with the first floor of the home. The lower deck is sort of at an intermediate level. The home has a walkout basement on the side and a lookout basement to the rear. So it's the topography changes. There's a retaining wall sort of parallel with the side of the house alongside the pool. It sort of forms that grade transition. We believe the hardship is just the extent of the floodplain on the lot. As you could see from the slides, under the current flood maps, the floodplain comes all the way partially into the corner of the house.
All right. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, basically, we eliminate allowing it for any improvements to the home the way the floodplains are right now.
All right, thank you, Mr. Steer. Are there any board members that have any questions for the petitioner? All right, are there any speakers in the audience who may want to speak in favor of or opposition to the request?
Good, Madam Chair. If you just give me a second, if there
Sure.
are any attendees that would like to speak, if you would use the raise hand feature, it'd be appreciated. And if not, Madam Chair, no one's raised their hand. Thank you.
All right, at this time, I'd like to offer the opportunity to hear an oral presentation of the department's report. Seeing no requests for that, does the Department of Planning have any final comments?
Sure, absolutely. Members of the board, the department is supporting this application this evening. While normally we would not be supporting building in the floodplain, in this case, the change in the floodplains from when the home was originally built has created a substantial hardship, in that essentially no improvement could be made to the home with where the current changes currently stand. Given that it is looking like the floodplain map is going to substantially change in a year, we feel that this variance can be supported tonight.
All right. Does the board have any final comments? Okay, seeing none, I'd like to close the proceeding before a vote and ask for a motion to approve, deny, or approve with conditions.
I would like to make a motion to approve the variance request as documented.
All right, we have a motion to approve the variance as requested. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman. We have a second. Ms. Coleman, how do you vote?
Approve.
Mr. Sprunger, how do you vote?
Approve.
Mr. Rubus, how do you vote?
Approve.
Thank you. And I also vote to approve the variance as has been requested. Your variance has been approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Sear, thank you for your patience tonight.
Thank you.
All right, we ready for the second petition?
Yes, ma'am. Madam
Good.
Chair and members of the board, the second and final petition tonight on the docket for the Board of Adjustment is BA 23-21, Craig and Cassandra Starbuck, 2251 Bates Road, O'Fallon, Missouri, 63368, request an exception to the natural resource protection standards for the purpose of constructing a new single-family dwelling upon the property located at 18443 Hinkin Valley Estates Drive, locator number 26X 140134, Hinkin Valley Estates Re-subdivision, Lot 10, which would thereby authorize the relocation of the natural resource protection line, as well as its associated 25-foot foundation setback to accommodate the placement of the proposed residence into the currently protected area of the lot, while maintaining the appropriate amount of preservation area on the overall parcel of ground, i.e., an exchange between preservation and building areas. This request is contrary to the requirements of Chapter 420.200 Natural Resource Protection Standards and Procedures of the Subdivision and Development Regulations of the City of Wildwood Municipal Code as applied to properties located in the NU Non-Urban Resident District, and Chapter 415.090 NU Non-Urban Resident District Regulations of the City of Wildwood Zoning Ordinance. This particular property is located in Ward 6. Before the slide presentation is provided by Ms. Keith, Madam Chair, the department would like to enter into the record the following items. Chapter 400, Article 2 of the City of Wildwood Municipal Code, the Board of Adjustment. Chapter 415 of the same City of Wildwood Municipal Code, the zoning ordinance. A file that has been developed and maintained by the Department of Planning regarding this particular case, and all contents contained therein, including the department's report with recommendation. And then finally, any evidence that is provided as part of tonight's hearing, and that evidence could include but not be limited to any maps, photographs, plats, plans, testimony, and any other items that are part of tonight's hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Vaynerchuk. I'm impressed by the speed of that reading.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm trying.
If I may, I will start my presentation. All right. The subject property this evening is located in the far western part of Wildwood off of Highway 100. Here you can see Fox Creek. The road in question is off of Hinkin Road on Hinkin Valley Estates Drive. The property is located in the Hinkin Valley Estates subdivision. It is just over 3 acres, and it's off of a privately maintained road maintained by the Homeowners Association. It is currently vacant, and the majority of the property is heavily wooded. It is located in the non-urban residence zoning district. Here you can see that the topography of the parcel is pretty interesting in that there is over 70 feet of relief on property. I highlighted these 2 numbers here because I wanted to note that it is located on the top of the hill. Essentially all the homes at this cul-de-sac, it's just one big hill going up it. To give you a little bit of a history of this particular case, it was originally, it is governed by our natural resource protection standards of our subdivision and development regulations. And it was originally platted with a natural resource protection line as described here. And this was the building area. However, last year, the Board of Adjustment did approve a change to the natural resource protection line in order to accommodate the design proposed by the petitioners. And at the time, the line was adjusted as follows. However, according to the petitioners, COVID supply chain issues caused their builder to stop constructing homes. And with that, their last design was discontinued and they had to design a new residence. Now, given the unique characteristics of the property, they are now asking to change the line as you can see depicted here. And this is a view of the lot. And this is the northeastern section of the lot adjacent to the cul-de-sac, which is the only portion of the lot that is not treed and somewhat flat. This is a view of the property to the north at the end of the cul-de-sac. And this is a view of the property to the southeast. And there's their other neighbor. There is a lot for sale across the street. And it is heavily treed, and once you get past the tree line, it's not very long before it begins to slope downwards pretty steeply. And then this is a view looking south. There are two neighbors that are in support of the request. One was noted in the report and one contacted me a couple hours prior to our meeting this evening. They both note the difficult topography of the lot and have no issues with the proposed adjustment. The trustees have also given their approval. And the department would note that there have been several approved variance requests in that same subdivision, all relating to the natural resource protection area and adjustments needed to accommodate building there. And that concludes my presentation. We are available if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Keefe. Can the petitioner please state your name, address, and relation to the property, and then be sworn in by the court reporter?
Madam Chair, Ms. Keefe will promote Mr. Starbuck and Mr. Matteo here.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, Mr. Starbuck. Could you please state your name and address in relation to the property and then be sworn in by the court reporter?
Sure. My name is Craig Starbuck and the property address is 18443 Incan Valley Estates Drive. Zip code is 63069.
Thank you.
This is my wife, Casey, as well. I don't know if you want.
Do I need to be sworn in as well?
Probably wouldn't hurt.
Okay, Cassandra Starbuck. And I don't have the address memorized as well. 18443 Hinkin Valley Estates Drive, Wildwood, Missouri, 63069.
You got it. 69.
69.
That's it.
All right, if you could both be sworn in by the court reporter.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this COPS will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
We do.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, can you please explain the nature of your request and the hardship or practical difficulty necessitating the variance as it relates to the character of your property?
Sure. I think Robin put it well. Essentially, we were working with a really small builder in 2020 when we purchased the lot. Due to supply chain issues, he was no longer able to procure the materials. He subsequently stopped building homes just as we were preparing to file for the permits, which needless to say left us in quite a bind. So after a year of planning with an architect, we had to scrap those plans, start all over again. Probably a blessing in disguise. We found Lombardo Homes. They've been a great partner to us. We went with one of their plans called the Prada, and it's a very different plan from what we were planning before. Simply put, the existing protection boundaries that we had approved last year will not accommodate the Prada, and therefore we're requesting a slight adjustment to those lines to accommodate this new dwelling.
Okay, thank you. Do any board members have any questions for the petitioners?
Is there basically no net difference in the amount of natural resource protection area?
Yeah, I can answer that. Actually, with what we're requesting, we'll clear fewer trees than we would have had we went with the existing boundaries that were approved last year. So
Great.
i.e. we'll preserve more of the natural resource protection area with what we're requesting today.
Thank you. Any other board members have any questions for the petitioners? All right, I'd like to open the floor to any speakers in the audience who may want to speak in favor of or opposition to the request.
Madam Chair, if you'll give me just a second.
Sure.
To the single attendee, if you'd like to speak on this particular matter, if you'd use the raise hand feature. And Madam Chair, I would note Mr. Matteo, who works for Lombardo Homes, is on the screen. I don't know if he'd like to speak in favor or opposition. Hopefully not opposition. But he'll need to be sworn in if he'd like to add anything. Thank you.
I'm available if anybody has any questions. And yes, I do speak in favor of it.
Nothing from the audience? All right.
No, ma'am.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to offer the opportunity to hear an oral presentation of the department's report. Seeing no requests for that, I'd like to offer the Department of Planning the opportunity to make any final comments.
The Department of Planning is recommending approval tonight for this case. We find that it is consistent with the approval granted last year, and in fact will result in perhaps a more positive outcome in that we will have additional protected area, as well as perhaps less impact to their neighbor directly to the north.
Thank you. Do any board members have any final comments? All right, at this time, I'd like to close the proceeding before a vote and ask for a motion to approve, deny, or approve with conditions.
I make a motion that we approve.
Thank you, Mr. Rubis. Is that subject to the deed being recorded?
Yes, it would be.
All right, thank you. We have a motion to approve subject to a deed being recorded showing the swap and restricted area. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Sprunger. Mr. Sprunger seconds that. Ms. Coleman, how do you vote?
Approve.
Mr. Sprunger, how do you vote?
Approve.
Mr. Rubis, how do you vote?
Approve.
And I also vote to approve. Your variance has been approved subject to the requirement that the deed be recorded documenting the swap and land.
Right. Thank you
Great,
very
thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
to the Starbucks and Mr. Matteo, thanks for your patience. I know we started late and we appreciate it very much. And Chris, good to see you.
Good seeing you, Joe. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. That's that. Can I
Like
go
we
home now?
finished.
Sorry
Thank you
again
all.
for being late, you guys. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay, Courtney.
Ms. Dahlman, I don't think you've ever been late before, so it's you're very, very good, so don't worry. And
Believe
thanks
it.
to all the board members. We do appreciate it as well. And to Sam, thanks for hanging in there with us tonight.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Meeting is
Good
adjourned.
night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.